And welcome everybody to episode 17 of Comic Confidential, the weekly podcast where we bring you the week's comic related news, views, and reviews. I'm your host, Kade, and with me, as always, insert joke here, Troy.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I was all over it.
Well done. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm very good. How are you?
That is good. I am possibly high on cough syrup.
You have been drinking that shit like a trooper.
So please excuse me if I do at some point either pass out from drowsiness or just cough all over the place.
Yeah.
I'll try my hardest not to.
There's a little known fact that whenever Troy steps into the studio here, he just coughs like a maniac.
I think I might be allergic to you. Is that a thing?
That could be it.
Yeah, it could be that. It's been like, how long have we been friends for? 100 years?
100 years at least.
100 years, and I've just developed this allergy in the past, 16 weeks or whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
Moving on. So I guess we need to talk about next week's episode, because I know X-Men Age of Apocalypse is out. It has been out for probably a week and a bit, nearly 2 weeks. What is it?
Yeah, it's been out for a little while now.
Yeah. So we are going to actually review that as part of episode 18, which will come out next Sunday.
Yep. There's no TV shows out, so we thought we'd just save that little bad boy for you.
Absolutely zero TV shows to talk about. If you have some suggestions, by the way, of TV shows that we should get onto, bring it on.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Actually, that's a really good idea.
Isn't it?
It is. Hit us, do it on Twitter or
Thought of
Facebook.
that. Instagram,
Nah.
email, carrier pigeon,
Smoke signals.
smoke signals. What else you got? Bird, bit different to a pigeon.
Telegram.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
However you want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't really care. A couple of quick happy birthdays to none of our listeners.
Is this the happy birthday show?
This is a happy birthday show. I won't sing it, but I do want to say happy birthday to Sir Ian McKellen, a.k.a. Magneto, a.k.a. Old Magneto, for those of you playing at home.
Magneto.
Old. He just turned 77 on May the 25th, so happy birthday to him. And on exactly the same day, Star Wars turned 39.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to Star Wars.
I guess so.
If you're listening. If you're listening, happy birthday, Star Wars. And thank you for listening, by the way, to everyone who listens to the show.
Oh, the listeners.
The listeners.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, the subscribers, the reviewers, all of you. Thank you once again, as we do every week. Don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook at Comic Confidential Podcast, Instagram and Twitter at Comic Con Pod.
Yes, and you can also... and we've also got a Patreon. You can get some sweet shit on there. So we'll leave that in the show notes. Troy's actually wearing one of the shirts today.
Yeah, it's,
and if you could see it, it would be the most brilliant shirt that you could ever lay your eyes upon.
Yes, it's a shirt that has to be seen to be believed. So while you're listening to it on a podcast, I don't know, because you're not going to know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But it's great. It fits very nicely. But with Patreon, we actually need to give a shout out.
Yes, we do. We have to shout out That Geek Caveman.
That Geek Caveman has jumped on board and he's supporting the show. Shane is his actual name. Very, very big supporter of the show.
Absolute
and we
legend.
love him so much. Thank you, Shane.
Do. Yeah, he's awesome.
He is.
Hey,
yeah, hello.
Oh, hi. Do you want to get into news?
Let's get into news.
Okie dokie. Did you hear Michael Keaton is apparently back in talks to appear in Homecoming Spider-Man?
Yes, I did.
Make up your damn mind.
Yeah, just make up your mind. Stop flip-flopping. Flip-flops are for your feet, not for your contracts to
Movies.
I guess. So still in talks to be the villain?
Yeah, I'm still putting my money on Vulture.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because of Birdman?
No, well, because he's old as fuck, and so is Vulture.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not that old,
He's not really that old, but, I mean...
but he's old.
He's old. He's on the older side.
He's on the older side of young.
Yeah.
No further talk, though, as to who he might actually be. That's purely speculation.
Yeah, that's
right?
speculation. We have no inside man.
We have no inside man on the set of Spider-Man Homecoming or in Michael Keaton's life.
Yeah.
In his general entourage. We don't have any people involved.
No.
We'll try to get some. I'm going to reach out to a few people. See if I can get some people on the inside.
Yeah, you're pretty handy on Twitter.
Yeah. On Twitter God.
Yeah.
As it were. So non-comic related though, because, sometimes we do that when we feel the need to talk about some cool stuff. Daniel Craig has officially turned down the role of James Bond. I think he passed up $100 million or something like that for 2 more movies.
Wasn't it 100 million pounds?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably because he's British.
Well, makes sense.
But 100 million currency units of some description. And who do you want? Who would you like to see as the next James Bond? I'll throw some names out to you because these are names that have been recently floated around.
Okay.
You've got Idris Elba. You've got Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
You've got Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
You've got Gillian Anderson, who's recently been...
Are we just like going from the Marvel universe here?
No, this is like genuine people that have been rumored to be part of it.
Yeah, I'm going to say I have to go with Idris for this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You like yourself some Idris?
Yeah, I do.
Me too. Actually, I think he'd be great. If I had to have a second pick, it'd be Fassbender.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's not up to me, is it?
No. Did you... Oh, yeah, we already spoke. You turned down that
What?
huge amount of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with
100 million
this.
currency units.
You must
We
really...
said it, like, it was 2 minutes ago,
Yeah, I know.
if that.
He must really hated doing those movies.
I think
To
he's
turn
just
down that much money.
I mean, if you think about it, like the guy is getting on, and I think he's not old, but he's in his 40s, and I think the physical toll that making those movies would take would be like excruciating on the body. To sign up for 2 more, I think it's he's done 3, and he's done 3 brilliant James Bond movies. Oh, he's done 2 brilliant James Bond movies, and he's done has he done 4? It's 4.
Is it 4? I
It's
know.
actually 4.
I think I've seen 2 of them.
No, it's 4. It's definitely 4. So he's done 4. I think 3 were really good. 1, Quantum of Solace, was meh.
Yeah.
But he's done a brilliant job as James Bond, my personal favourite. But I think it's time to move on. Similar to what Matt Damon did with Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Until he actually got older again and said, yeah, let's do another Jason Bourne. Which makes no sense.
Yeah.
But, it's Matt Damon.
I'm going to switch back to some comic book news here.
Okay.
DC Rebirth #1 is out.
Yeah, so DC Universe, DC Universe Rebirth #1. It's the cough syrup, man.
Yeah, you're high as hell.
I am. Even though it specifically says non-drowsy will not get you high on the bottle.
It says will not get you high.
It literally says will not get you Snoop Dogg high. Yeah.
But look, the spoiler for this DC Rebirth is Watchmen.
Yes.
Which I didn't actually realize were in the DC universe.
Yeah.
I thought they were in like some other little pocket.
like an offshoot or something like that.
Yeah, something like a variant or, something like that.
Yeah, look, it's no. Apparently, they are actually a part of the DC universe, and that's great. So you get a couple of little hints to the fact that the whole thing is going to, major crossover. Batman finds the comedian's badge.
Yeah, the little smiley face.
Yeah, which is cool as shit. And basically, at the end, there's a massive point towards Dr. Manhattan, who plays a massive part within the universe as a whole.
Yep.
So let's see what happens. I read #1. I thought it was great. I thought it was. It's a really good start or restart, I guess, again, to a series that was struggling once again with its continuity.
Yeah, well, there wasn't much love for the New 52 at all.
No, I think initially there was, but I think as it went on, it was the same problem that they had before they did Flashpoint and brought in the New 52. But yeah. We'll see how it goes. It's only the first one. It's DC Universe #1. We'll see what happens from there. I think everything else comes out within the next week or so. So we'll see how we go. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. Sticking with a little bit of DC news,
Yeah.
Jeff Johns wants to bring some hope and light into the DC movie universe.
Bless his soul.
Yeah, and he's looking to make Superman a little bit more relatable.
Yeah.
Which I can understand because you cannot connect with the character in the movies at the moment.
Well, you can't. I mean, he's kind of got the weight of the world on his shoulders, really, doesn't he?
He does.
And none of us really have that to that sort of extent, to the extent that he has. So, yeah, look, I mean, he's, probably, is your mum's name Martha?
It's not.
Yeah, so neither is mine. So that's another reason why we can't relate.
That's right.
But, it's just, yeah, they have... I don't want to say they've made him depressing or anything like that, but they've definitely made this character dark. Maybe they made it a little too dark, a little too down. But I think when it comes to symbolizing hope, as Superman is supposed to, they haven't necessarily done a really good job with that so far.
Yeah,
with these
I
movies.
agree. Yeah, he's not the hopeful person that he needs to be. That's
Yeah.
that's a perfect way of doing it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Sticking with comic books, but flipping to Marvel. This is probably the biggest news of the week. And I want to just make a point that there are dead set spoilers, but if you've spent any time on the internet, it's already been spoiled for you, for sure.
Oh, yeah, easily.
For sure. So I managed to read it before it got spoiled for me, which is great. But Steve Rogers, Captain America #1. So
What happens? What happens?
what happens? So apparently, I guess the good folks at Marvel and writer Nick Spencer have decided to turn Captain America into a Hydra agent.
Of course.
Of course.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
He's only been battling the Nazis for how long?
Yeah,
50
forever.
years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
60, 70,
70
100
years.
years. I don't know. But yeah, it's caused, the internet is dead set furious. Like, there are people, because I try to spend a fair bit of time on Twitter, and there are people that are seriously getting some hate out there that actually have nothing to do with Marvel or Captain America or anything anymore. People like, I think even Boss Logic, who is the designer, does a lot of that, what do you call it?
Those artworks, the pop heads or whatever he calls them.
Yeah, it does the pop heads. Does a lot of Photoshop of certain people into Marvel characters, people that we might like to see Marvel, DC,
yeah.
all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? Even he made a Captain Hydra, and was copying quite a bit of
Captain Hydra. That's
Captain
pretty
Hydra.
good.
Yeah. Oh, look, and it looks great. But yeah, people are dead set turning against him because of that, telling him to delete his account and whatnot. Even former Captain America writer Ed Brubaker was copying it on Twitter, and he hasn't worked at Marvel for years.
What? Oh, man.
Look, I say, having read it, right, and everybody's just freaking out about these last couple of panels,
Yeah.
and especially the last panel where it's Captain America saying "Hail Hydra," and I think everybody needs to, as I pretty much always say, directed towards the internet, chill the fuck out. Have some Robitussin and just chill out, man. Like, let's just see where it goes. Like, these are in the hands of professional comic book writers. They're not just going to take a character, like a beloved character, and shit all over it. There's going to be a reason behind it. And I think it's... I've got a note here. Yeah, comic journalist Brett White has basically said that it's most likely an altered timeline scenario involving Baron, Zemo, and Kobik, who are a big part of the comic as well.
Yeah.
So just give it a chance, man. Let's just see what happens. Like, I think Captain America was a fucking werewolf once, and did people,
Yes, he was.
And did people go crazy?
Well, they probably
did. It's the internet. That could have been before the days of the internet. Who
Well,
knows?
people were probably writing
They
letters.
were writing letters, taking actual time out of their day to write letters to Marvel. So stop with the hate, folks. It's issue #1. Let's give it a chance.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's nothing against Captain America. I honestly don't think they're shitting on the character.
But who cares if they make him a Hydra agent? They'll just make the universe a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, it kind of, it's insulting to Captain America's legacy. But I guess that, okay, let me phrase that by saying that's kind of what people are saying, that it's insulting to Captain America's legacy and whatnot.
Do you think it is?
I don't, because I believe that that's not how they're going to run it. Right? I think he will genuinely, and there's flashbacks and everything to his youth that suggest he was indoctrinated into this Hydra regime at a very early age. And that's fine. But again, I think we need to let it play out before we go crazy and chuck the shits. People are so quick to just, mash on a keyboard.
Yeah, but people are dickheads too.
Not our listeners.
Not ours.
Those guys are fucking great.
We're the dickheads.
Yeah, to them, we are the dickheads. Yeah. That's all I've got for news, but that to me that's probably the biggest of the week.
Yeah, easy. That's blown up my Facebook. That's blown up my Twitter.
Yeah.
It's blown up everything. Blew up my damn computer.
Yeah.
Had to go get a new one.
It blew my socks off, literally.
Yeah.
Had to go get new socks.
Damn.
Yeah.
Like, it blew your shirt off like you got a new Comic Confidential one.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, you should check that out on Patreon.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, we have no pictures of it up yet. But we will.
Yeah, we will. All right. That wraps up the news.
I think so.
And that's going to bring us to the weekly wrap, the segment where we wrap up all the week's TV action. Starting off this week with Preacher.
Yes.
The pilot. So, small town preacher Jesse Custer struggles to keep his face.
His face. He struggles to keep his face.
Yes. Tulip and Cassidy arrive in town, and Jesse meets Genesis.
Yes, he does. Or not so much named Genesis yet, but meets a mysterious force that will probably become Genesis at some point.
It seems like it's Genesis.
Although they did reference outer space,
they
rather
did.
than heaven. So there is talk that they could take it like extraterrestrial,
Right.
rather than like God himself. But I fucking doubt it. I don't know who's coming up with those rumors on the internet, but you crazy, you crazy.
It's Seth. He's doing it.
Seth,
Yeah.
he's just getting into it, just trying to throw us for a loop.
Yeah, he is.
Damn you, Seth. Look, man. If I wasn't excited before, I am now. This was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
First thing, though, that I want to address is because, as I do for anything we talk about, I like to have a look at what other people think as well. I like to read some reviews and read some feedback. I love reading the comments sections of some things because people, man, they have some very interesting opinions and views out there, really, don't they?
Boy, is there.
Boy, is there.
I really like the ones that are so off the point.
Yeah.
You just think, how the fuck do you come up with that, you idiot?
Like, what are you talking about? And sometimes, let me tell you, that is the people actually genuinely reviewing the show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to mention anybody in particular. I don't want to put anyone on blast, but, sometimes there's some stupid shit out there.
Yeah.
Including sometimes us. We
Mostly.
also have been known to say some stupid shit. I myself have been wrong many times.
I think 90% of what we say is probably wrong and stupid.
Yeah. Somehow people still listen to us. Thank you for supporting us and our special show. But the first thing that I actually want to address is, because I think the thing that probably drove people the most insane with this particular show is how much they've steered away from the actual source material. And while, yes, they haven't gone crazy with it, and they haven't. Even Garth Ennis has basically praised the show. Garth Ennis, the creator of the comic, or co-creator of the comic, with Steve Dillon, I think. Yeah, I hope so. Has basically praised the show and said that it's great. And again, like, I'm probably going to say this a million times throughout this particular podcast, but calm down, internet. Like, it's not going to be an exact shot replication, of the comic to the TV show. So, it doesn't really matter, does it?
No, not at all.
Just enjoy the show for what it is. And let's not forget, it's the pilot anyway. So,
And me and you, we have this rule. You cannot judge a show on its pilot.
Yeah, never judge
ever.
any show by its pilot. Give it a chance to set the tone, and see where it goes from there. Like, by all means, if you're 4 or 5 episodes in and it's still shit, then you should probably think about moving on with your life and watching something else.
Why didn't we do that with Fear the Walking Dead?
I don't know. I do not know. But you've got to give it a chance. You've got to give it its time to shine. And I already think that it's done a really good job. I really like this episode, man. I thought it was great.
Yeah, man, it had me hooked. It was really intriguing. Everything about it.
Yeah. I think, look, we could sit here if we wanted to and talk about the major differences. But I'll run over a couple because I know you haven't read the comics.
Yeah.
And, I want to ask you your opinion on what you thought later as somebody who hasn't actually read the comics. So Cassidy, the vampire, played by Joe Gilgan, I think already what they've tried to do, because in the comic books, you see him kind of drink blood once, I think. And basically, he just kind of swears a lot and drinks a lot, and he's basically just Jesse's sort of right-hand man. I think they're going to play a lot more on the vampire sort of aspect of it.
Yeah.
You can sort of tell that already.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was really interesting that, we see the scene where he jumps out of the plane after he basically murders everyone in it.
30,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way he kind of regenerates, he just devours a whole cow.
Yeah.
I presume he drinks the blood of it to regenerate himself. Like I said, I haven't read the comics, so I don't know how it works. But
Well, it doesn't.
No?
It doesn't happen, but that's fine.
Yeah. But that's how it seems like he can regenerate himself, because he's just splattered all over the place.
Yeah, and I think that was actually really cool. I think the way they did that was pretty great.
Yeah.
I thought the part where he throws the champagne bottle at the dude and then like pops the cork on it, pours it into his empty bottle of Jack Daniels or whatever it is. That was pretty
great.
good. I think it's going to be a really good representation of the character. I think Joe Gilgun is fantastic. And I think I said it in our actual Preacher episode. I haven't seen this guy in anything before, and I think that helps. Because I have no expectations of him.
Yeah.
Because I know he's British, trying to play Irish. Like we've spoken about that before. But man, I loved it. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see how much they play on the whole vampire sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because I think they will. Because it's interesting.
It is. It really is.
Tulip, Ruth Negga. Again, it's a very... First time you meet Tulip, she's kind of in the middle of a... So this is in the comics, by the way.
Yeah.
First time you meet her, she's kind of in the middle of doing a job, like a hit.
Okay.
She kind of shoots, kind of misses, and then sort of like takes off as she's being chased or whatever. This kind of first meeting of Tulip was a little bit more intense. She kind of, goes sick on a couple of dudes.
Yeah.
Shoves some corn in a guy's mouth.
Yeah, that was interesting. Good hand-to-eye coordination there to get that happening.
Very good corn-to-eye coordination. Plus, she also basically builds a fucking tin bucket fucking rocket launcher and brings down a helicopter with it.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's going to play to that character as well. But I think they're kind of, again, the internet's kind of like, that's not Tulip, that's not portraying the character right. Again,
not
it's a
everything
representation. Works. Give it a chance.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be badass as fuck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she's cool, man. She's amazing.
Yep.
She even has that nurturing mother side to her.
Yeah, with the little kids.
Yeah.
Loves it. Dominic Cooper, man. Now, this apparently, according to, and I'm going to reference the internet a lot because, people have been waiting for this for quite some time. So they obviously had a lot to say about it. People have been saying that out of the Trinity, so Cassidy, Tulip, and Jesse Custer, Dominic Cooper was probably the least impressive.
Really?
Yeah, but I think,
Is that just because their expectations are a bit too high?
Well, I think the expectations are too close to, the source material.
Yeah.
Jesse Custer in the comics is like 100% like a man's man. Very much, there isn't a lot of, sort of, what's the kind of, like, it's not so much empathy or sympathy or anything like that, but
he just tells it how it is type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. He tells it how it is. He'll smack you in the mouth if he feels like he needs to smack you in the mouth, like if you're disrespecting him or whatever. I think they've tried to tone that down a little bit with Dominic Cooper's version.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that's fine, man. Dominic Cooper is a great actor. He was fantastic as Howard Stark.
He was.
For those 3 seconds he was Howard Stark. No, but seriously, like Dominic Cooper is great. I think his portrayal was great. Had a couple of people on Twitter appraise him as well, like to us directly. I mean, So yeah, I say we see where it goes.
Yeah, and one thing I like to touch on is I like the way that this show was filmed.
Yeah,
and I hope they do that across the rest of the episodes, and because shows can change quite a bit from the pilot to the second, third, fourth episodes, so on. And they almost. I mentioned it to you because we watched this together.
Yeah.
And I said, are these scenes out of the comics? Because they kept... It almost... It's like they were framing shots as a quite iconic.
Yeah, as like how you would expect to see them on a panel in a comic.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Like they weren't, direct shot-for-shot comparisons or anything like that. But they were still... Yeah, you're right. Like the way it was... the cinematography, I guess... it would be called in movie language, was fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And, the way that they zoomed in on certain things to, emphasize a point, that's good. It all helps in the storytelling.
Yeah.
And you don't see this type of, I guess, filmmaking in the other shows that we watch.
Yeah.
You know, it's very unique, and I guess that's why it stood out for me.
Yeah. I think, it really depends on where they're going to go with it. I haven't kind of really got a vibe on that yet, in the sense of, basically within the comics, Jesse gets hit with Genesis, the church explodes, and off he goes on this pilgrimage to essentially find God. A few other things happen and all this sort of stuff. Here he is actually decided to stay and help his town, save his town.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, just let it play out.
Yeah, that's it. And we actually get to see his word of God
come to fruition.
Yeah. And it's quite good because, was it last week that we mentioned it? It's all depends on your perception on what he says.
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of more, whatever he says, you will take in the literal sense, or how you would interpret the literal sense of what he's saying.
Yeah.
So it's, like, tell her how you feel. What did he say?
He's tell her how you feel, open up your heart to her. Or whatever. For her, something like that. And, and he literally goes to his mother. I'll go to her, I think. Yeah.
Tell her how you feel. Yeah, open your heart.
Yeah.
Or talk to her. Whatever it was. Doesn't matter. Anyway, fact is, he actually genuinely stabs himself in the chest and opens up his heart to her and then dies. It's fantastic, actually.
It was awesome. It's I'm really looking forward to this season,
Yeah. Unfortunately, it is on break.
Damn you, AMC.
Yeah, so it's come out. It's on break for a week. It'll be back in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
With the episode C. As a pilot, do you want to give it a rating as a pilot, or do you think we should just let it go because it's a pilot?
I'm gonna break my rules here.
Yeah.
Out of 5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this a 3.5.
Yeah.
3.5, pushing 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're praising it.
I am praising it
more than a 3.5. Look, for me, I thought it was really good. I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Oh,
yeah, just because I had high expectations and it didn't let me down. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to say, man. I thought it was great.
Oh, one thing we didn't touch on was Arseface.
Arseface.
Yeah.
And again, Arseface is portrayed a little bit differently. You only see him in, one kind of real scene.
Yeah.
But in the show, he's portrayed as this really, lovely, kid with a touching story. And, I think Preacher kind of... help me out here. Give me some words about,
Well, yeah,
Arseface,
obviously, he has regret for what he's done. And what he tried to do was obviously...
blow his face off. Yeah, in the vein of Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
As it were.
And he said he used to be able to talk to God and he would talk back.
Yep.
Now God is ignoring him. He feels sad about it. And Preacher, assures him that everything will be okay. You are sorry. You will be forgiven.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what I was trying to get at. Like in the comics, they kind of play him off as a bit more of a joke. People make fun of him a lot more, including Preacher. But in this, he's just a kid with a messed up face that just wants some help.
Yeah,
and Preacher gives it to him. I think that's nice.
It is.
Nice touching little moment. Yeah.
So 2 weeks, it's back.
2 weeks, it's back with the episode C.
That takes us to Fear the Walking Dead. Shiva. Strand is exiled from the compound. Salazar and Chris go mad. Fucking wankers.
Yep.
Travis gets sad, and Madison takes matters into her own hands.
Yep.
So could we probably devote an entire episode to all the things wrong with Fear the Walking Dead?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what we do every week.
I guess that's pretty close to what we already do.
Yeah.
But yes, we could probably we could call it episode 18, What the Fuck is Wrong with Fear the Walking Dead?
Yeah.
And we could just rant for 2 hours on it. Because I know you didn't think this episode was that bad. But for me, I thought it was fucking terrible.
All right, well, let's point out all the weird and stupid shit that happened.
Okay.
Yeah?
Shall I start?
Okay, yes, you may.
Where to start?
There's
so much. Okay, how about Chris? Right? So Chris is just fucking outright evil now. Right? But, I'm talking hold a kid hostage and attempt to stab your dad kind of evil.
Yeah, man, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like the show has turned this kid from like brooding fucking, annoying fucking child. Excuse all my language. I'm just passionate about this shit. From brooding annoying child to basically like psychopathic fucking killer in the space of what I can only imagine is a couple of days.
Yeah.
Or a few days.
It would literally be 1 to 2 days that they've been in this compound.
Yeah, because I mean, it's they get there, Thomas Abigail's bitten,
Yeah.
he dies, or Strand shoots him, whatever.
down.
Yeah, he gets put down. Then Strand gets kicked out, and it's like, okay, so that literally has to happen in probably 2 or 3 days tops.
Yeah.
And this kid has kind of gone from, annoying shit to fucking, I'm going to kill everybody.
As Drake would say, 0 to 100.
0 to 100.
Real quick.
Killing machine.
Yeah.
So I think that's bullshit.
Yeah. I've got some more shit to throw at you.
Yeah.
What about Travis?
Yes.
He goes chasing after Chris. Put some shoes on, mate.
Yeah.
Put some fucking shoes on.
How hard is it to you can sit there and have a fucking conversation with Alicia.
Yeah.
But you can't put some fucking shoes on. Put a pair of thongs on, for fuck's sake. Anyway.
Yeah. And I'm going to jump pretty much all the way to the end of the episode.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
None of it made sense.
None of it made sense. And he basically just abandons everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yep. So, like, yes.
I'm raising my hands like, what the fuck?
Like, I almost don't know what to say, because I understand that, it's his kid, and that's fine. But, like, what are you going to do? Like, spend time in a fucking cabin trying to make him become a real human again? Like, you're actually going to isolate him from people more and try to, to rebuild his fucking fragile psyche or whatever. Instead of, like, I don't know, bring him back with everyone else, keep him fucking locked up in a cupboard. I don't know. But it just makes no sense that this guy would just abandon everybody. I don't actually think they know what they're doing with this character.
No, I don't either. I don't think
Travis, I mean Travis, not Chris. They've made their choice with Chris.
Chris is, it's clear cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Travis, the only thing is, like you, I also read a lot of stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
And there was absolutely no love for for Travis, sorry.
Or Chris.
Yeah. But yeah, no one liked him. They wanted him gone.
Yeah, and they're not going to do that, obviously. But this, man, it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I think this is just the writer's way of getting rid of him, but bringing him back if they want.
Yeah.
In a safe way.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. We can continue. Why don't you? What else have you got?
What about Nick?
Nick.
Oh, man. This guy, he's so easily influenced by Celia. And, I can get it. It's fine. But why is this guy constantly taking zombie guts baths?
Zombie guts baths.
Yeah.
It's a weird obsession.
It is a weird obsession.
Like, I can understand him being easily influenced by Celia, being, an ex-heroin addict or whatever he is. Like, he could probably be easily taken in by a lot of this shit. And that's fine. But, look, the whole thing with him taking zombie guts baths, is that what you called them?
Yeah.
Yeah, and going for these random walks, that'd be fine. But it's 3 times or 4 times now that they've kind of done it. And so he takes another zombie guts bath to go and find Travis and Chris. And yeah, so he does. That's fine. But guess what? Travis and Chris have just survived out there for fucking 2 days or a day or whatever it is without taking a zombie guts bath and having no issue. So I think it's just becoming a weird obsession with him now.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's not necessary. But, my biggest gripe of this whole fucking show for this particular episode and now the whole season and my life.
Yeah.
Daniel Salazar.
Oh.
Honestly, like, what the fuck was that?
Mate, what a way to ruin a character.
Did they really just take a fan favorite, right? Send him into a 1-day descent into madness and have him kill himself, right? Did they? Like, is that literally like I'm actually asking a question, because if they have, they've just fucking ruined everything.
Yeah. Oh.
Honestly. So, okay, so this is probably one of the only interesting characters that we've had on the show.
Yeah.
One of a couple. There's him, there's potentially Nick, and Strand man,
we'll see what happens.
We'll see what
with
happens
him.
with him. You know, he could still be all right. But I honestly feel like they have just killed him off after, you know, him being one of the more stable people there.
Yeah.
You know, he's the guy that discovered Strand's plan. He,
Yep.
you know, did all this sort of stuff, and it's just kind of like, oh, okay, well, now you're mad, and now you're seeing your old fucking wife, your dead wife, and you're going to risk your fucking daughter that you love by burning this whole fucking thing to the ground.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Right?
Man,
Whatever.
I feel like the AMC writers' room just shat in their hand, had ideas on the wall, and just threw it, and wherever it landed, that's what stuck.
Where the shit sticks, that's what we'll write about. Maybe it was, you know, bring your kids to work day.
Maybe.
And, you know, just like, oh, here, little Johnny, jump on and fucking write me a story for Fear the Walking Dead. It was fucking mental. It made no sense. But I guess one thing it did do is it overshadowed Madison's decision to lock Celia in the cell with the zombies.
Yes.
Which, you know, was fine. Like, I actually thought that was really good, you know, that she has taken this stand and she's basically almost become the Rick of this show.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, by doing that. And she's probably one of the characters that, you know, I disliked from the start and is growing on me.
Yeah.
But then, you know, so that happens, and then it's completely overshadowed by the fact that Daniel Salazar walks in and torches the whole place anyway.
Yeah.
But you don't even actually see if Celia is dead. I don't know why they wouldn't show it if she isn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know, I get you. Yeah.
Like, I feel like she's a character that we would see die, is kind of what I'm saying. But, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have one more.
Okay.
I have one more. With, you know, this, and it's going back to Madison and Nick, when he comes back and, you know, they're kind of like reuniting as they're trying to escape in the four-wheel drive or whatever it is. So he's kind of like standing there accusing her, like accusingly sort of just saying, oh, you know, where is Celia? Like, what have you done? And all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Why the fuck wouldn't she just go, oh, I don't actually know, but it seems like Daniel Salazar started this fire, so maybe he kind of killed her as well, because I know he didn't trust her. Hey, Nick, how about we get in the car and go? Instead of just like not saying anything, basically, you know, standing there saying, well, you know, like without saying words, well, yeah, it was me, I killed her, and having Nick turn around and go, well, you know what, fuck you, I'm not going with you.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense?
No,
Does
not at all.
any of this make any sense to anyone who is listening to this podcast right now?
I don't know why Celia is more of an issue for Nick than his own mother.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah, it's just because
Like,
Nick, you know, Nick did make the comment, I think earlier in the episode at some point, that they have basically, their group has basically become these, you know, harbingers of death or whatever. You know, basically everywhere they go, people die now.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he obviously is a little bit more sensitive than that and doesn't want to be a part of that. And I think, you know, coming to the realization then that his mother probably just killed Celia as well.
Yeah.
Then I think it was a bit too much.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like, well, you know what? I'm going to cover myself in zombie guts and I'm going to go hang with my new friends, fucking zombie Steve and zombie fucking Sophie.
Yeah.
Or whoever the hell.
You know, there was a scene, you know, he's walking away. They got to drive past him. It's like one of those awkward things when you see someone in, say, a shopping center and you're like, oh, bye.
Yeah, see you
and
later.
then you both start going the same way.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
It's super awkward.
Yeah.
Just someone has to turn, don't they? Just walk
that's
away.
it.
Walk the
I'll
other
just
way.
go sit down for 5 minutes.
Oh, something happened on my phone. I really
Yeah.
need to just like check this while you walk away. Yeah, look, the whole thing was awkward as shit to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, look, the team's all split up now.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? You know, is it just going to be little mini stories?
Yeah.
And everyone has their own little struggles and then eventually catch up in the end for a bigger struggle together?
I fucking hope not.
I bet you it is.
So you're saying they're going to take these characters and over the course of each episode, we might focus on each and every one of them, like separately?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Thank you.
Oh.
Look, they might.
I guarantee.
But no, thank you.
guarantee it.
Look, we've got until August to decide whether we actually want to come back from the mid-season break. But if they do that, that will be hard to do, man. I was reading one article. I've got the note here for Forbes entertainment contributor Eric Kane said, "Imagine how awful an entire episode of Chris and Travis would be." Like, fucking amen, brother.
Yeah,
Can you imagine that?
That'd be fucking terrible.
Like an hour, 60 minutes, or 45 minutes or whatever after ads.
Yeah.
Of fucking Chris and Travis just like brooding at each other. Like, who can brood the fucking most?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Let's move on. What do you rate it?
Oh, I am actually going to give it my lowest rating ever.
Oh.
Because I'm just sick of this shit. 1.
1.
Yeah, I've given a 1.5 before.
Yeah, you have.
I'm going to give it a 1 just because I can't be fucked, man. Like, it's almost insulting the way that this shit comes across. And, like, I mean, this show, I've said it before, it has plenty of potential.
Yeah.
But nobody is even attempting to live up to it. So 1 out of 5. Fuck you, Fear the Walking Dead.
I'm gonna 1 better you. Well, half better you. 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. Fuck you, writers. Get it together.
Well, this is the time that they now have to go back and potentially reevaluate.
Yeah.
Like, I don't actually. I would assume, however, that most of these scenes would have already been filmed.
Yeah.
But maybe they could edit it differently. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
they could do something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
All I know is they got to lift their game.
They've got to definitely lift their game. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Main segment time.
Main segment.
Okay, so this week's main segment is going to be obviously the Gotham finale, the Arrow finale, and the Flash finale. It's probably going to take 3 hours because we've got a lot of rage / love, but mostly rage.
Yeah. So much
to
rage.
get out of our system. So we'll start with the Gotham finale, which was Wrath of the Villains Transference. So Hugo Strange's plans fall to pieces, Jim Gordon leaves Gotham in the lurch, and Fish Mooney escapes with a whole bunch of baddies.
Look, oh, mate. This is another fine example of Gotham doing nothing with a fucking storyline. Wrath of the Villains should have been called slightly aggressive exploits of a couple of people who happen to be bad guys that don't really have much of a story but want to just say, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm like here for an episode or two and then like I'll be killed off or whatever. Yeah, look, this particular episode could have been set 4 or 5 episodes back and kind of built to an epic, kind of monsters take over Gotham type story. Instead, that's where it ends. It ends with that, but without any of the action that there should have been.
This, in my opinion, should have been the mid-season finale.
Yeah, and the mid-season finale was bullshit.
Yep.
So why not? Look, let me break down to you what the actual synopsis of this show should have been. So it should have been Jim, actually. No, we'll go, yeah. So Jim and Lucius stop a bomb with a cup of water. Fish Mooney has a bus crash. And with 20 monsters on the loose, Jim decides it's time to go to Florida. Think about that, because that's basically all that happened.
Yeah.
They stop a bomb with a cup of water. Fish Mooney crashes a bus after she gets shot at by Butch. And, Gotham faces its worst disaster since the dawn of time. And Jim Gordon's just like, I've had a change of heart. I'm going to go find Lee instead.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Really? This is genuinely the guy who has sacrificed everything, including his relationships, absolutely everything. It sacrificed almost his career to basically protect this city, and now he chooses to leave and basically leave it in the hands of what is essentially still a bunch of crooked, inept cops.
Yeah.
Not Harvey Bullock, sure, who
Yep.
is now acting commander, but he's acting commander, like he doesn't know what the fuck to do. But yeah, like Jim Gordon's just like, actually, you know what? Fuck you guys now. I know you've got like potentially 35,000 fucking villains on the loose,
But
peace out.
See ya.
Mic drop. Steals Harvey's car. Fucks off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Top bloke.
What a guy.
Yeah. But, it's very typical of this show to forget all previous storylines and do what they want.
Yeah.
It's...
It does. It's kind of...
Is it the Gotham effect?
I think that's a very good way to call it. It's the Gotham effect. It's like let's throw these scenes or these shock value scenarios at you without actually really trying to develop a story as a whole.
Yeah.
Or remember things that we actually put in the show earlier as to how people might, act or interact or whatever.
It's, it's almost like they cater this show to the very casual viewer.
Yeah.
Someone who can't commit each week to watching it or, doesn't bother.
Yeah.
They can just jump in wherever. And like I think I said this last week. It's, here's 3 or 4 episodes. That's a little story. Here's another 3 or 4 episodes. That's another little story.
Yeah.
That's who I think this show caters to.
And then overall, it's just kind of, will Bruce ever find out who really killed his parents?
Yeah, that's exactly
like,
it.
It's Joe Chill. And then it's like, but Joe Chill was like, he was pointed in that direction by someone else. And it's like, that someone else is Hugo Strange. And it's like, but Hugo Strange was like pointed in that direction by someone else. And it's like, well, that's the Court of the Owls or this secret society or whatever. Yep. And it's like, I've discovered that now. So like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like, that's really it. Whatever.
Hey, let's go back to this episode.
Yeah.
Because,
that's fine.
It was shit. How the fuck didn't Alfred and Bullock recognize Clayface as Jim Gordon?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
Did any of his aneurysms not give it away?
Like any of them?
Any?
Like the fact that, it's kind of like, I have a flu or, I have a touch of the flu or whatever. Yeah. And this is why I'm acting like a fucking completely different person.
It took Barbara, a crazy person, to figure it out.
Yeah, and all because she asked him a question about Lee, and he's kind of like, I don't care about Lee.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're not Jim Gordon. Then she slaps him in the face, and his face kind of like falls off.
Yeah.
Almost. And then they're kind of like, shit, it's not actually Jim Gordon. And you're like, no fucking shit, dipshits.
Yeah.
That's frustrating, man.
Because it was frustrating to watch.
Both Harvey Bullock and Alfred... and Bruce Wayne, who wasn't there, but those 3 characters have spent a lot of time with Jim Gordon. And, Harvey Bullock is a man that has effectively, put his personal career on the line multiple times to kind of lie for Jim Gordon and all that sort of stuff. Like, you would have to assume this guy, is very, very close to this person.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, we've known each other for quite some time, and I'm just like... I just come up to you and I'm acting like a completely different person. You'd at least think that I was on drugs.
Yes,
right?
At least.
You'd question it, wouldn't you? Like, fucking hell.
Well, look, it plays into this story in Gotham that basically Jim's like, don't worry about fucking looking into Doctor Strange. It's fine.
Yeah, like... So one of the most Hugo Strange. Yeah. I know what you're saying, but
still a doctor.
Yeah. This is one of the most dedicated kind of dogged detectives you're likely to meet, who will not stop at anything until he has his man, and then he's kind of like, you know what? Yeah, I looked into it now. He's like, yeah, it's good. That's kind of like a big slap in the face from the Gotham writers.
Yeah.
I think they probably need to get their shit together at some point. I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
Fish Mooney, what the fuck is up with her outfit?
Oh my god!
Right?
She looks like she robbed Aquaman.
Yeah, like Aquaman's, poor cousin who is trying to like create a suit dedicated to Aquaman because he wants to be him.
It's a poor cosplay.
Yeah, it's a poor. It's like if I tried to cosplay with no creative ability whatsoever, which I don't have. I tried to cosplay. That's probably the suit that I'd make up.
Yeah.
Or is it even a suit? Is that her skin now? Because
Actually,
she's
that's
in
a
with the
good
cuttlefish.
point.
Like she's been merged with the cuttlefish, which can change its color and its appearance or whatever to blend into its surroundings. Yeah. Is that maybe it's her skin?
Oh,
maybe it's her skin.
You know what? If I ever go back and watch it, I'll let you know.
You won't.
Nah.
You'll do neither of those things. I have another question.
Okay.
I have a couple. How the hell did Hugo Strange survive getting hit by a blast of ice and a blast of fire at the same time? And not only how did he not survive, how did his chin beard not even get singed?
Yeah.
Are they really?
I thought he was gone. I
Yeah.
thought he was dead. He looked dead.
Yeah, I was kind of like, oh, okay, great. They've just killed off Hugo Strange in
Yeah.
the way that they kill off everybody. Just simple like that. You know, who gives a shit?
Yep.
We're done with this character now. Let's move on.
Yep.
But they didn't even do that. Instead, they made it even less believable by having him take a double shot, like
Yeah.
ice at the front, or heat at the front, ice at the back, whatever. And yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Bit of a singed jacket.
Yeah. A little bit of frostbite.
Yeah, a little bit shaken.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Anyway, who do you think? So the bus crashes at the end. Fish Mooney's bus crashes. Some homeless lady, decides to let these monsters out and let them loose into Gotham.
Yep.
Which will be the big thing for next season, sure. What about Doppelganger Bruce Wayne? Who's that?
Oh, I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you excited about the fact that there's now 2 Bruce Waynes
Yeah,
on the show?
I'm so excited. Little punk rocker one here with his little long
With
hair.
his long hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Look,
He's very polite.
he was.
Yeah.
It's like, thank you very much for letting us out or whatever. That's great.
Would have been better if you shanked her.
Yeah.
That would have made sense.
Yeah. My guess, and I do have this note for when we talk about what happens next season, but I may as well bring it up now. My guess is they're actually going to use this character as a Court of the Owls character called Talon that is essentially sent to kill Batman, but obviously they're going to use it to either kill and replace Bruce Wayne, probably.
All right.
I think they'll do it that way.
Use
He's
the-
basically a baby assassin, this guy.
Yep.
Not in the comics, but this is how they're going to play it. He'll probably die in 2 episodes. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Okay.
So, where do we go next season?
Yeah.
What happens?
Well, apparently there's going to be 20 plus villains out there.
Yeah.
So we're going to see close to 22 episodes, 23 episodes in a season.
23 episodes.
Yeah, so 3 of those episodes will be good.
Yep.
The other 20 are going to be bullshit stories relating to each one of these characters.
Yep. So we'll have a character an episode.
Yeah.
That they'll kill off by the end of it.
And then it'll wrap up with Court of the Owls right at the end, real quick.
Yeah. And basically, someone's just going to walk in with a rocket launcher and just blow the Court of the Owls up.
Yeah. Yep, that's going to be it.
Yeah, I think so. Look, if we actually do want to talk about, the characters that they are going to bring back next season or introduce next season, they have announced a few. So obviously we're going to see more Fish Mooney, Penguin, and the Riddler. Jerome Valeska should be back, who is still rumored to be this show's Joker.
Yeah.
Or Kid Joker, because he's like 15 or something.
Yeah.
They are definitely going to add in the Mad Hatter.
Okay.
Talon, as I mentioned earlier,
Yep.
which is why I believe it'll be a doppelganger Bruce Wayne, and Solomon Grundy. Now, if this was any other show, I would actually be very, very excited for Solomon Grundy. But it's Gotham.
It's Gotham.
So there is every chance that they will do absolutely nothing with it, and I'll be very disappointed. So I'm going to keep my expectations super low, as low as I can keep them. And also expect Court of the Owls to come up. They'll keep ruling behind the scenes or whatever they'll do. I'll probably end up shooting myself at some point as well. That's a prediction.
Yep.
I'll shoot myself sometime.
We'll do a murder-suicide
Yeah,
pact.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so give us a rating for the episode. Just the episode, then we'll do season.
Okay. Episode 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will actually agree with your 2.5. Were there bright spots? There are a couple. I think the potential of some of the characters that they may introduce.
Yeah, there's a little bit of hope on the horizon.
Hopefully, as it were, the writers kind of take some of the feedback that they're getting on board and start to structure an actual season-long story that makes sense. Create some character-driven arcs.
Yep.
And give us a fucking villain that, what did Hugo Strange turn out to be? This was basically this season's villain.
Yeah, it was.
And he turned out to be fucking nothing. Like, he ran away, and I don't even know what happened to him in the end. I don't even care.
Yeah. Actually, he did just run away, didn't he?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
No, he did, because fucking Gordon and all that just ran away and left him on the ground.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Fucking hell.
Anyway, so both agree 2.5. What about the season as a whole?
50.
So out of 100, you're going to give it a 50?
50.
That's pretty low.
Yeah. Mate, this show had maybe 2 or 3 good episodes.
Yeah.
That was about it.
I'll give it a 70.
70?
It's
you
high.
You must be fucking drunk.
It's high, but it still had some good moments. I think it's not a poor show. I think it has a lot of potential. I think they fucked up with the finale for sure, and the lead up to the finale, but I think there's enough in there that it gives hope. It has been renewed for a 3rd season, so obviously enough people are watching. Maybe 2 viewers is enough for them to keep coming back. But 70, 69. I won't put it in the 7s.
Yeah, that's better.
69. Fucking let's move on.
My name is Oliver Queen. After 5 years in hell, I returned home with only one goal: to save my city. But my old approach wasn't enough. I had to become someone else. I had to become something else. I had to become the Green Arrow.
And we all know what that disappointing theme means. We are talking the Arrow finale schism. Team Arrow make their final stand against Damien Dark. Everybody finds some hope lying around, and the team is split as main members take a well-deserved break. Because everyone gets annual leave when you're in Team Arrow.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know what? I understand that there's still a lot of shit that's probably happening. I mean, in the last 3 years, we've had like 4 terrorist attacks, or 4 years, we've had 4 terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take my 4 weeks, and I'm going to go and, just, I don't know, go to Aspen or wherever these people go.
Not going to the city next door, that's for sure.
That's for damn sure. There's shit happening there too.
Yeah. It blew up.
It did.
It's gone.
Gone. This episode had a drinking game, which is exciting.
Oh.
Yeah. So basically, you could take a drink every time someone says the word hope, because there's about 1 million times. You could take a drink every time someone says the word darkness, right? And then you could probably just die from alcohol poisoning, because there was a shitload. Hope, darkness. Every second word was hope.
Yeah.
Every third word was darkness.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like anyway.
Hey, before we get into this,
Yeah.
I think the ghosts went to the same training facility as stormtroopers. Because these motherfuckers can't shoot for shit.
Yes, they are terrible.
They were just running into rooms. Not even looking to...
You're just shooting at the roof
as
they run in. It's like, there's a guy over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to face the other direction and shoot at the wall. I'm going to stand up against the wall and just shoot at it. I have no idea what I'm doing here because I'm a ghost.
Yeah.
I'm a highly trained operative, trained by someone who used to be a member of the League of Assassins, and I can't shoot for shit. Yep, that's a very good point.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, what about the season?
Oh, mate.
The show.
The show.
Season?
Yeah.
Show?
Well.
Let's talk about the show.
Okay.
Episode.
Well, no, I'm going to talk about it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Because didn't season 4 really just spiral into like just a pile of shit
Yeah.
and worthlessness?
Yep.
Like, really?
Yep. I think this is the type of finale that you get when you drag out a season, over 23 episodes, you drag out a storyline over 22 episodes,
Yeah.
and you try to cram everything into the final act.
Yeah. I think this is the definition of lack of direction.
Yeah, think a final season of How I Met Your Mother as an example.
Oh, that's fucking a great analogy because that was bullshit.
That was fucking terrible. So the whole thing is like, dragged out over the whole season, and then right at the end, all of it happens in like, for that show, half an hour or whatever it is. But for this one, fuck, like they just did nothing. Yeah. They did nothing. Basically, the whole season was brought down to a street fight.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? A la like The Dark Knight.
Yeah. Spot on.
Sorry, The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Obviously, with
I know what you're
Bane,
talking
but you know
about.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But kind of more in the vein of a Rocky V type of street fight, because it sucked shit. So
no. I think that's
look.
that's
Let
everything.
me tell you what this finale boils down to. Right.
Okay.
So Oliver loses hope. Right.
Yeah.
Oliver gets given a speech on hope. Mm-hmm. Right. Oliver gives a speech on hope. Oliver uses said newfound hope to beat the bad guy with hope magic.
Yeah.
That's basically what fucking happened.
Yep.
Right? It's like...
I've got a... Yeah, no, I feel you. I've got a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
How many people do you think were in that street fight? Like, honestly, 100?
100?
His nuke killed tens of thousands. How is the hope of 100 worth more than the death of tens of thousands? Tell me that.
Because hope is stronger than darkness will ever be.
Is
Didn't
it?
you learn anything from this season?
Oh, obviously not.
All it takes is 100 hope levels of hope to beat out tens of thousands levels of darkness.
Yeah.
It's not even English, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, it's Arrow English.
Yeah, it's kind of like fucking what?
Yeah.
Like seriously, that's it. It's like all this boiled down to this, and then it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I understand you've got magic, but guess what, fucker? I've got magic too, because I gave a speech on top of a taxi, and now 17 people fucking, have hope. So
Yeah.
fuck you, and now you've got no powers.
Yeah. All that happened really quite quickly in that, what was it, 17 minutes until the nuke came?
Yeah.
And,
Like, yes.
oh my God.
It's like there's Oliver getting his speech of hope from Curtis.
Yeah.
And
There's Curtis now on the roof
Yep.
with Felicity.
with
a...
fucking around, mind you.
Oh,
Fucking around while there is basically a nuclear weapon coming to destroy the city.
and how convenient of it to fly right over the top of them.
Yeah. Where did that go, by the way?
Exactly.
Like,
The other city.
Yeah. What sorry suckers actually, or is it just flying around, like, circling until it runs out of, like, nuke fuel?
Yeah.
And then it'll just fall harmlessly out of the sky and land in the fucking Pacific Ocean somewhere.
Well, I think a passing comment in the episode was to shoot them into space.
Yeah, well, that's what they did with the 15,000 other fucking nukes.
No, you're thinking of something else there.
What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of X-Men.
No, that's what they did. I'm sure that's what they did.
No, that was X-Men.
No, I know that's what they did in X-Men, but I think it's the same thing. Didn't they do the same thing?
Maybe. I don't think they did.
Well, then what the fuck did they do with them, Kate?
I don't know.
Where did they go?
Yeah.
If
Actually,
they-
no, you are right. Sorry, I'm wrong side of the episode.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but it happened.
Yeah, it did.
And it's bullshit.
It is bullshit.
Like, couldn't you have just done that in the first place?
Exactly.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, I know.
I don't even know where we're up to now.
Yeah,
because I'm like so angry.
We're up to the street fight. And,
Street fight.
Yeah. Fortunately / unfortunately,
Yeah,
they killed him. They killed Damien Dark.
yeah. So Oliver Queen.
Yeah, Oliver Queen goes back to killing people.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Damien Dark was the most interesting character
Yeah,
of this season.
of the season for sure.
Yeah.
Does that undo all his hope magic? Do you think that like next season, like because I know everybody wants it to be a little bit more grounded in reality.
Yeah.
So he loses his hope magic because he took a life. Is that how
Maybe.
hope magic works?
Maybe.
I didn't go to a hope magic school. Anyway, guess what?
What?
It's time for my dick move of the week.
Oh, I haven't got the sound effect.
Na 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 na. There you go.
That's a bit hopeful.
So my dick move of the week goes to all the writers and creative directors for bringing us a shit show from start to finish. So I like on Twitter we follow the Arrow Writers Room,
Yeah.
right? And these guys were weirdly excited about this episode.
Well, they kind of have to be. It's their job.
Yeah, I know they have to to plug it, but I don't think they actually did any writing. Because
No.
all they've really done is they've just borrowed every single fucking cliche from everything you've ever seen ever, right? Including Passion of the Christ, probably
Your favorite movie.
my favorite movie. But and they've done nothing. They've given us what is effectively a shit end to a shit season.
Yeah.
And a very, very disappointing fucking end, let me tell you.
Oh, yep.
So congratulations, you guys. You get my dick move of the week. No, dick move of the season, the entire season. for wasting everybody's fucking
Really?
time.
Dick move of the season and the week.
Dick move of the season.
Double whammy.
Yeah. Edit some fantastic fucking music into that, mate.
Yeah.
'Cause they deserve it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one.
Anyway, we could rage forever. Yeah, look, apparently everybody on the show, not everybody, but a couple of the main sort of characters, I know Stephen Amell, David Ramsey, have kind of been blaming the fact that Arrow has had to devote its time to building other shows. So, like, it's had to devote time to introducing and building The Flash, had to do the same things with Legends of Tomorrow, and hasn't had a chance to really focus on itself.
You know what? I can see where they're coming from here.
Yeah.
Except I'm sure season 3 was a pretty good season of Arrow. It's where it started to go downhill.
Yeah.
But you know, it's easy to blame the other things.
Yeah, so season 1 was terrible. Season 2 was really good.
Yeah.
Season 3 like had its moments, but it also had its negative moments. And season 4 has just been terrible.
It's been the worst show on TV.
I think everybody knows it's been terrible. Let me read you this quote from Diggle, David Ramsey, that I think it was the UK's Daily Mirror. So this is a paraphrased quote of David Ramsey. So, none of these nukes, getting a guy with a bow and arrow to come along and save the world. It's back to the streets. Diggle is military, Oliver is best when fighting, and Felicity behind the computer doing her magic opening doors. That's what I love as a fan. So it's kind of like, you know, get rid of this fucking magic.
Yeah.
Get rid of this Felicity, Olicity drama, right? And just get it back to its basics, and we might have a good show on our hands.
Yeah. Just keep it basic, guys.
Yeah.
We just want some basic bitches up in here.
Just some basic bitches. Speaking of basic bitches, if this is a segue I'm allowed to use. So I saw Katie Cassidy's names in the credit, like her name in the credits.
Yep.
And I genuinely thought, like, fuck, they're going to bring her back at the end. It's like going to be the last thing you see or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're going to bring her back. Thank fuck they didn't. But I genuinely thought that I think they did it maybe just to fuck with me.
Yeah,
it's like Katie Cassidy, and it's like not even in the show. I think you saw a photo of her or something. But yeah, I don't know if that's enough to warrant your name in the credits.
Oh, you get a paycheck for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe she was contracted for the whole 23 episodes.
Oh, maybe.
So
yeah.
maybe they had to put her name in it. I don't know. Anyway, fucking good luck to everyone for next year.
Yeah.
Or next season.
Man, they've got a fucking shitload of work to do.
Don't they? So where do we go next season? What do we do?
Yeah. Bigger question. Do we even go to next season?
Yeah.
We kind of have to. You know, we're now getting a 4-show crossover happening.
Yeah.
And I guess it's safe to say the other 3 shows are saving Arrow on our roster.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because if it wasn't for that, you know, I'd probably happily dump this show, to be honest with you. But, you know, let's have some high hopes for season 5, you guys. Like we had high hopes for season 4 at the end of season 3. Look, the writers really need to step their game up. Season was a mess. It was a mess. But apparently, okay. So let's talk honestly about the potential for next season, because apparently next season the big bad guy is going to be a regular human. So he's not going to be a meta-human. There's not going to be any magic or anything like that. I think the guy's got a basic name like fucking James or something. Like you don't know much more than that. But I think it bodes well for the show. Like, you know, Stephen Amell has said that he wants the show to be more grounded, which, you know, yeah, like that quote I read from David Ramsey. It's like, get it back to the streets.
Yeah.
Because that's where episode 2, you know, did so well. Because that was with Slade Wilson and all that sort of stuff. Like, even though they kept saying Mirakuru, which drove me insane because, like, you know, yes, we
That's
understand.
a drinking game.
It's
in
like
itself.
the Japanese fucking pronunciation of miracle. We get it. But, you know, apart from that, it was fairly grounded and it was a great season.
Yeah.
They have said that the events on The Flash will likely not affect the events on this show.
That's fucking bullshit. Mind you, it's not all bad because that means they could have brought back Black Canary.
Yeah. They could essentially bring back anybody they wanted to.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they'll bring back Deathstroke.
Hopefully.
But I don't think I don't even know if that guy died.
No, you know what? They can't use him because they've sidetracked him for movies.
Yeah, but what about Deathstroke's kid?
Another name, I think.
No, but like from Legends where they went into the future.
Wasn't that an alternative future though?
Yeah, I don't care, man. Like they can do whatever they want. Everything's going to be an alternate future.
That's right.
Which we'll talk about later. David Ramsey, Diggle, Colton Hayes, Arsenal will be returning.
That's good.
That is good. And the most exciting news, it should be the last season of Flashbacks.
Yeah, right.
It has to be. It's going to catch up to itself.
Yeah.
I actually thought it had already caught up to itself. Because he's kind of like, I've got a different thing now when he opens that thing or whatever he does.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care. But it's kind of like, I thought that was when he sort of went back, like I made a promise. So that's when it's time to go back to Starling City at that time.
Oh, right.
And become the Arrow. But apparently it's probably going to focus more on Oliver's relationship with the Bratva. And how he, because, he speaks Russian and he's got all those connections within the Russian mob. So it'll probably focus on that, which at least we're off the fucking island, man.
Yeah, that's good.
But expect to see 5 minutes of story dragged out over 23 episodes. I can tell you that much.
All right. You want to wrap this one up? What do you give the episode rating?
Episode?
Yeah.
Solid 2. I feel like a 2 is almost generous.
Yep.
But I'm going to go with a 2. Just, because, man, I've had a lot of cough syrup, so I'm feeling generous.
Yeah.
2. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to meet you there. Going to give it a 2.
Yeah.
Did nothing for me.
No.
Didn't excite me for next season.
No. Hell no.
Me and my girlfriend, we watched this and we're just like, what the fuck?
Like, that's how you finish a fucking season?
Like, is this how you that's almost like a season, a show finishing episode.
Yeah.
Everyone's gone. Cool.
Yep. Do we need to talk about the fact that Oliver's mayor now? Does that matter?
No, I don't think it does.
Whatever. Anyway.
I know he's mayor in the comics.
Yeah.
So except I don't read the Green Arrow comics. So.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Season
60.
60.
Yeah. I do enjoy the show more than Gotham.
Yeah.
I can't rate it lower than that.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. Look, this particular season was, very poor for me. So I'm going to give it a 55. And I know I just gave Gotham a 69, but my rating system is incredibly flawed. Like, it means absolutely nothing, to be honest with you. But look, basically what I'm trying to say is this was a very below average season. If you want to class average as 7.5 out of 10, like I know, like you would say 50, but it's not. Like it's it's probably 7.5 is like
that's your middle ground.
Yeah, that's kind of like a good season.
Yeah,
anything above 8 is great. This to me like 55, 60 tops.
Yeah,
whatever.
Screw you, Arrow.
Yeah, let's talk about the Flash, man.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. To the outside world, I'm an ordinary forensic scientist, but secretly, with the help of my friends at Star Labs, I fight crime and find other metahumans like me. I hunted down the man who killed my mother, but in doing so, I opened up our world to new threats. And I am the only one fast enough to stop them. I am the Flash.
All right, and that's going to bring us to the Flash finale, so the race of his life. So the Flash faces Zoom for the race of everyone's lives, really. The Man in the Iron Mask is revealed, and Barry creates a paradox of some sort, perhaps? Yeah. Maybe. We'll talk about that.
We'll get to that point.
In a flash? Anyway, whatever.
Terrible.
So before we actually start to talk about the episode, can I just make mention of Grant Gustin's ability to cry? That guy is fucking brilliant.
Man, he must have some dark, dark thoughts in that head.
Yeah, either that or he's got like a big dirty onion that he carries with him wherever he goes.
True, hey.
Because, most people get the old single tear rolling down the cheek of a single eye.
Not this guy,
This
man.
guy's like streams.
Yeah, it's not coming out.
It's not quite that bad, but it is good. One of the best criers I've seen on camera, I'd have to say.
He is good.
Yeah. Anyway.
Talking about things that were good,
Yeah.
this episode was good,
Yeah.
but it wasn't great. Not
No.
what I was expecting. Well, not what I was hoping for the finale.
Yeah. It it definitely had its moments, and it was easily the strongest of the three finales.
Oh, easily.
I kind of just, like you said, higher hopes for this, but it wasn't bad.
No,
By
well,
any stretch, but
not at all. It was very heavy on the feels, and we've come to expect that from The Flash.
Yeah.
But while the ending was strong, there was a couple of things that just didn't add up for me, and it kind of felt pretty rushed.
Yeah. I agree. I do agree. I think if you look at Zoom as an example,
Yeah.
as a whole, so this is a guy that effectively had three different reasons for why he wanted, or like for why he was like he was. So, like he wanted to conquer / destroy the multiverse, all except for Earth 1. 2, he wanted to be the fastest, like he wanted to prove that he was the fastest out there. And 3, he wanted to show Barry that he was just like he was. They're from the same tragic background.
Yeah.
You're basically me, dude. You just need to be willing to kill yourself or whatever. I don't know, but it's kind of pick one.
Yeah,
Just pick one and have that as your main focus.
there was a fair bit of lack of direction this season, to be fair.
Just flip-flopping between these different, it's kind of like, like for the longest time they were talking about how Zoom wanted to prove that he was the fastest and he wanted to steal everybody's speed force.
Yeah.
But then, it's kind of like, then they changed that to the fact that it's like, oh, actually, now I just want to like conquer worlds or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I also have this sub thing that I also want to do, and that's, prove that Barry is a fucking bad guy.
Well, wasn't it... I guess, we can jump all the way to the end of the episode and all the way back, but didn't he say he's conquered other Earths before? Or did I mishear that?
I don't think so.
No?
Maybe. Tell us out there if that's what he said, but I don't think so. Because I think, so he had conquered Earth 2, and then basically he didn't want to conquer Earths, as it were, which is kind of because he said he wanted to.
Yeah.
This is kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
But then his plan was effectively to destroy the other Earths and leave only Earth 1, in which he would then take over and be the fastest man alive in it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Not at all.
Exactly. That's kind of my point. And it just gets the whole story gets a little bit convoluted.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like trying to think of, where is this guy coming from again? Takes away from, because the way the character looks, the way it talks, as far as Zoom, I mean, it's very, very formidable, almost borderline scary.
Yeah.
If you're 6 or whatever.
I find him scary.
Yep. But do you know what I mean? The character as a whole is great. Just have his motives a little bit more streamlined into maybe one thing.
Yeah. No, I
would
get
be
you.
big. I guess, though, my personal biggest issue with the finale is the fact that Barry would actually, in fact, risk everything. And I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about multiverses. Like he would, and they're infinite, remember?
Yeah.
We don't even know how many there are. But he would basically, risk all of that to save Joe. And I don't think Joe would ever want him to do that. And I don't think the character they've really portrayed Barry to be would really want to do that either.
Yeah,
It's very irrational.
It is.
Maybe a little bit emotionally charged. Like, yes, he did just lose his dad, and can't sort of bear to lose another one.
Yep.
But, I think it's a stretch.
Yeah.
I think him losing Joe should probably have been the events that, led him to becoming so emotionally distraught that he went back in time and saved his mother, which he does at the end.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
Does it make sense?
it does. I don't know, man.
Because, like, think about it. Like, yes, I understand. Like, his mother died ages ago, and he had accepted that. Like, so he had moved on from it, and he finally accepted it when he was in the Speed Force. Henry, yes, was his dad for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, he had devoted his entire life to get him out of jail and, you know, clear his name. Henry gets out of jail and basically is just like, you know, you don't actually need me around, so I'm going to disappear into the fucking woods. And then, you know, finally decides to make a comeback into Barry's life. I mean, you know, like, yes, it's your dad, and yes, that's the relationship that you've had, but, like, Joe is the man. Joe's the guy that's been there since,
That's
like,
right,
day one,
yeah.
you know? So Joe's a tragedy. Henry Allen is sad, but not the tragedy that I think sets Barry on this path.
Yeah, I agree with you there. But, you know, do you want to talk about the apparent Flashpoint story that they're setting up?
Yeah.
You know, like, it is a brilliant way to end the show.
Yeah.
And ultimately, everything that's happened in this episode has led to it.
Yeah.
You've seen what happens in Flashpoint. Mm-hmm. I've seen.
Yep.
How do you think this is going to translate?
I don't know. Like, I have a few theories, but, you know, look, we'll talk about it now. Like, I was going to save it for the where do we go next season section.
Yeah.
But look, I don't think that this Flashpoint storyline is necessarily going to take up the whole of next season.
Okay.
I think they'll wrap it up fairly quickly. I think they will find a way to reset everything in some sort of way. There'll be some changes, I believe. I think you made the comment earlier that not earlier in the show, earlier today, that the Reverse Flash will probably come back.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Tom Cavanaugh has signed on for season 3 as a regular.
Yeah.
So whether he'll come back as Earth 2 Harrison Wells, for, like, somehow, Earth 1 Harrison Wells again, Reverse Flash Harrison Wells, who knows?
Yeah.
So that is something that could make a comeback.
Yeah.
But I think they'll wrap it up. I think they might actually, they might do it as part of the 4-part crossover.
Yeah.
And then have that done.
Yeah,
and then
right.
they'll move forward.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You know, I think the first half of the season will be dealing with this massive fuck up of what Flashpoint is.
Well, realistically, like, you know, it has major ramifications on the timeline.
Oh, it does.
Like, major.
Yeah. And, you know, I have a feeling this is actually going to bring back Zoom for next season.
Yeah.
Because in Flashpoint, I can't remember if it's Reverse Flash or Zoom that's involved in that storyline.
It's Reverse Flash.
It's Reverse Flash? Yeah. But he was actually caught in the time stream.
Yeah.
When Barry goes back and does this, makes him basically invincible because of it.
Yeah.
We see Zoom's taken away by the time wraith.
Yep.
Could be in that whole same period when he does this. So
yeah, I think. Look, as far as Zoom goes, I think he's done.
you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I think with Zoom, you know, it was kind of like a little homage, as it were, to like the Black Flash.
Yeah, the Black Racer.
Yeah, like the Flash of Death.
Yeah,
if that's what you want to call him. And I think that was kind of, you know, it was basically just a kind of a thing sort of showing that transformation, but I don't think they'll play on that. I think it's just like, here's one for the fans.
Yeah.
And then they'll get rid of him. Reverse Flash, definitely, because Reverse Flash does play a major part in the timeline.
Yeah.
You know, Barry Allen does say, you know, you're not going to hurt my mother this time. You'll never hurt her again.
Yep.
But then he just punches the dude out. Like, you probably need to kill him at some point if that's actually going to happen. But I know he's not a killer.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I honestly don't believe it's going to be the major storyline that it looked like it was going to shape up to be.
Okay. No, that's fair enough.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I guess so. We actually missed a pretty big part, and we didn't talk about how the episode ended.
Yeah.
Man, I got excited at the end there. I thought that was a massive cosmic treadmill.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was super excited. And it's quite actually, you know, it's a bit of a head fuck how Barry wins the day here.
Yeah.
And I still don't get my head around this at all.
So he's kind of used... let me attempt to explain this to you, and then let me cop some grief from the internet when I get it fucking wrong. But I think so. Basically, he's used his knowledge of the Speed Force to go back in time and grab another version of himself to
from the future, from the
past, right?
Yeah.
So he's grabbed another version of himself from the past in order to help him defeat Zoom. So he's used that person as a distraction while he sets up the chain of events as to how he kind of captures Zoom.
Yeah.
And now that's why you see the other Flash, the Time Remnant Flash, continues to run in order to absorb all the energy and destroy the machine. Very, reminiscent of Crisis on Infinite Earths, I think. So then basically that's it. So he's brought his own version of himself back from the past, which is what Zoom said to him earlier when they had that initial battle.
Yeah.
It's like, there can be two of you. You just have to be willing to kill yourself.
Yeah.
So he's gone back in time. He's explained to, past Flash that this is the situation. Can you be involved? Past Flash has said yes. And there you go. And I think it's a little bit disappointing how they played that off.
It wasn't really well explained to the audience.
It wasn't, but I think they even brushed it aside, I think, with a couple of comments when I think Wally was trying to explain what happened, and they're kind of like, don't worry about it, that's just whatever. It's just science, it's like you wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
But when you think about what effectively just happened, is Barry Allen has convinced Barry Allen to kill himself to save the world.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing.
It is.
That was played out as nothing.
That's right.
If any of that makes any sense, fucking good on me. If it doesn't, please feel free to let me know on Twitter or on Instagram or Facebook or wherever.
It still boggles my mind how it doesn't affect the timeline though, hey?
Well, but it does in the sense of like he has gone back and he has disrupted the timeline, which is what brings the time wraiths.
Yeah, I understand that.
Right? Isn't that enough?
Yeah,
Can't we just move on? Hey, mate, it's just science.
It's TV logic.
It's just science. Let's just move on. You wouldn't understand. Hey, one big thing, the Man in the Iron Mask reveal.
Yes, we knew it all along.
We did. We kind of got it wrong, but we got it right.
Yeah.
So yes, it was Jay Garrick, fantastic, good on us. Yes, it was Henry Allen's doppelganger, fantastic, we fucking nailed it. But he was actually said he was from Earth 3, not from Earth 2.
Yeah.
So we said it was going to be Earth 2's doppelganger, Henry Allen doppelganger, whatever. My question to you is, wasn't Supergirl from Earth 3?
No, we made that up. We did. We said.
Did we? We just created that out of nothing?
Yeah, we did. We just said we presume she's from Earth 3.
Okay, but she's not.
She might be from Earth 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever.
Yep.
So
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Fair point. So that makes yeah, cool. All right, then. I don't know. So what do you think? Like, do you think? Because I really want to know how they're going to bring Supergirl into this world.
Yeah,
that's my biggest thing. Do you think it's going to be part of this this Flashpointy thing, or what? Like,
yeah, it's really going to be hard to tell because if she is not part of the DC TV universe,
yeah,
by the first episode, nothing's going to line up.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I just wonder if they're going to do it as a this is how we've altered the timeline, and now I don't know. Supergirl now exists in this world with all her friends.
Actually, do you think they'll even pay respect to the first season?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point.
Because
I kind of think they have to, because you can't go back and just, this is Supergirl. Because remember how it ended. They're going to play on that. They're still going to play on the fact that the pod arrived and who's in the pod and all that sort of stuff. But I just don't know how they're going to merge the continuity.
Yeah, that's the question.
Very interesting to me because it's one of those things that they can either do really well or they'll just brush off.
Yeah.
And they'll, it'll kind of be a slap in the face to fans and it'll be like, come on, man. That's not going to happen.
Well, yeah, Well, we saw it with Arrow this season. What happens when you bring a new show into, your collective?
Yeah.
So that might happen to Supergirl this season.
Do you think maybe they'll just bring Supergirl?
Maybe.
Or do you think they'll bring like Wynn and James and fucking Lucy and Martian Manhunter, whatever his name was, Hank? Do you think they'll bring them all?
Oh,
Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows? Look,
who knows?
We're talking about the Flash.
Do they
here.
need to? No.
No, but they probably
leave behind the shit characters that just created drama for the sake.
Yeah, the ones that
drama.
we said were shit specifically.
Yeah. Don't bring them.
Yeah, like listen
Just bring
to us.
Supergirl and Martian Manhunter. They'll be great.
Yeah. Anyway, what are we talking about Supergirl for? We're
Yeah.
supposed to be talking about the Flash.
Yeah, sorry.
So I don't know. Look, I think there is a possibility that they will continue to use Jay Garrick.
Yeah. Well,
because-
especially. Well, sorry, you go.
No, it's like because like that version of Jay Garrick is a member of the Justice Society of America.
Yeah, that's right.
So they may continue to do that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Maybe there'll be some issues with them trying to get back to their Earth. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? The Flash writers have done probably the best job of the season.
Yep.
And we can talk about that now. We can rate the finale and rate the season and all that sort of stuff. I think they've done probably easily the best job. I think the finale was a little bit of a letdown, just with the plot holes and things like that.
Yeah.
Everything
just wrapped up a little bit too quickly, a little bit too neatly.
Yeah, I genuinely, again, my biggest thing with this episode was I honestly don't believe Barry would put himself into a position where he would sacrifice everything to run this race.
Yeah.
But, he obviously did, and he knew what he was doing, so good on him. I'm not Barry Allen, so that's why I'm not Barry Allen.
Now, I know we kind of touched on this like just before, but how do you envision next season happening? Is there anything that you want to see? What's your wish list for next season?
My wish list.
And now I want to extend this across everything.
Oh, God.
Because ultimately, the Flash's events should affect everything else.
Look, I mean, if you look at the shows that we have, when you look at the actual Flashpoint paradox, Flashpoint events, as it were, they probably had the lesser input into what happened. So, the biggest events of that weren't really surrounding, the legends, or they weren't surrounding like Supergirl or, even like Green Arrow to a lesser extent. They were kind of, circling the Justice League more than anybody else.
Yeah.
So that's why I think they won't really play on it too much.
Okay.
And that's fine. As long as I guess my wish list is, number one on it is that they don't fuck that story up and don't rush it.
Yep.
And don't just blow it off as like, okay, episode 2, I've reset the timeline and let's go. I want to see the Justice Society of America start to take a big part. I'd love to see some of those characters come into the show.
Yep.
Not, the sort of the more minor characters like Hourman, as we've seen, but like I'd love to see Dr. Fate, I'd love to see, like the bigger characters like that. Give us more Jay Garrick. I think John Wesley Shipp in that outfit was cool as fuck. Give us some more of that. So
yeah.
Okay. No Hawkman, no Hawkgirl. That's a big thing for me. But what I really want to see is I want to see some really decent character-driven stories that actually have a point. Like the storylines have a point.
Yeah.
And give us a fucking really good bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be the Reverse Flash again, I don't know. But I think, whatever, man. Let's see what happens. What do you want? What do you want to see?
I tell you, I have a great story here.
Okay.
Now, Batman played a pretty big role.
Yeah.
In Flashpoint.
Yeah.
And it wasn't normal Batman. It was Bruce's dad as Batman in the alternative timeline. I want to see that happen, but with Oliver Queen's dad.
Okay.
Become a crazy Green Arrow.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think that's how they'll do it, and I think they'll work really well.
You reckon?
Yeah. And instead of Wonder Woman being like bad, Supergirl.
Well, I don't think Wonder Woman... Well, it was kind of like... I think Wonder Woman and Aquaman were both pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Like they were at each other's throats. But yeah, okay, so you think it'll be Supergirl?
Yeah. Because, I just had the thought then.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they can weave her in.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with it. I don't know if we need to see Robert Queen as Oliver Queen. Oh, sorry, as the Green Arrow.
Yeah, but, I do think they'll wrap up that whole...
Why can't we just have Thomas Wayne?
Yeah.
Like, why can't they just bring that character into the universe?
Well, they can't.
Why? Is he contracted to the actual DC movie universe, that character?
Yes.
How? They don't even touch on him pretty much anywhere in any of the movies.
Bullet does.
Huh?
A bullet does.
Well, yes, a bullet does, but that's kind of what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
they don't really, like, they've never delved deep into this character of Thomas Wayne in any of
but
these movies.
I just feel, Queen would be a good way to tie everything together.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
We're rambling.
We are rambling.
This is a conversation we can have for later.
That's it.
Give us your season rating.
Okay, I'll give you my episode rating.
Oh, yeah, okay, we didn't do that.
I'm going to give it a 6.5. 7. I'm giving it 7.
So that's your episode rating?
Episode rating.
A 7 out of 5?
10.
You know we do episodes out of 5, right?
Yeah, I'm changing things up.
You've gone rogue, man.
I've gone rogue.
All right, 7 out of 10. That's good.
Yep.
Yep.
What about you?
I liked it. I thought it was good. Like I said, it had its issues. I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10 as well.
Yeah,
Why
there
not?
you go.
Or if we're doing the other thing, it'd be a solid 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Season?
Season? It wasn't as good as the first season.
No.
I'm going to give it 70.
70?
Yep.
Yep. I thought it was easily, like, by far the best of anything that we had this year.
Yeah. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an 80. So,
80.
8 out of 10
Yeah.
for the season, which I think is probably pretty fair.
Not bad.
So 80 out of 100 for The Flash. And once again, fuck you, Arrow. Get your shit together.
Yeah. And that means it's time for our final segment, Get to Know Your Favorite Hero, brought to you by Kasplat Comics and Collectibles. For all your pop culture needs, head to kasplatcomics.com.au, or you can visit their Facebook page, Kasplat Comics and Collectibles. Check them out. We'll leave a link in our show notes as well.
As we always do.
Every time.
Every time, because we're nice like that. So today we're going to talk about one thing, and it is Flashpoint. So the major 5-issue DC crossover event written by Jeff Johns and illustrated by Andy Kubert, that also had numerous tie-ins to many other DC titles and helped spawn the New 52 universe. So why should you read Flashpoint, Cade? Why? Let me tell you.
Because it's the fucking best.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But you should read it because it is actually an incredible story that helps to reset the struggling continuity of the then DC universe. And B, because you at least want to have some idea about what's happening before The Flash comes back in October, right? Right, you guys? Anyway, Flashpoint focuses around Barry Allen, who wakes up to essentially find himself in an alternate timeline where everything is almost back to front. His family is alive and well, Cyborg is the world's most popular hero, Superman is being detained by the government, Aquaman and Wonder Woman are at the brink of causing world war, and Thomas Wayne assumes the mantle of Batman after the death of his son Bruce. Barry, literally powerless, must find a way to stop the villain responsible for altering the timeline and make it back to his Earth before his memories fade and he's trapped in this alternate landscape forever. So get down to your local comic book store and pick up the collected edition of Flashpoint by Jeff Johns, or alternately, get it? Alternate? Like reality? Whatever. Alternately, you can grab yourself a copy of the amazing DC animated Flashpoint Paradox and get yourself up to speed. Pun intended.
You're fucking
I'm
terrible.
on fire.
You're
on fire.
You're a dickhead, mate.
Anyway,
that's going to do it for another episode. Stay tuned next week when we're finally going to fucking review X-Men Age of Apocalypse.
yes, we will. Thanks once again to everyone who listens, subscribes, and reviews. Remember, you can always follow along at Facebook, Comic Confidential Podcast, Instagram and Twitter at Comic Con Pod. We have the website, which I don't even think we mentioned earlier, comicconpod.com.
I think we did.
Did we?
Yeah.
If we didn't, have a look at that. And the a Patreon, of course, where you can get yourself some cool shit like stickers and postcards that will like ride all over.
Yeah.
Get yourself a t-shirt. I think there's other things.
Yeah.
High fives and shit.
So many high fives.
Just go to patreon.com/ComicConPod.
That's right.
Is that right? Did I
Yeah.
get that right? Fuck yeah.
Killing it.
All right. So thanks once again for listening. As always, I'm Troy.
And I'm Cade.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace.